Matt Skraby wraps up a full day of live and local sports talk.
And that is the whole problem with aliens. You just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Skraby Show for August 14th, 2024. Padres have won 19 of the last 22. They have swept two teams this year, which is the first time in franchise history that has happened. Lots of things are going right. I tried to somewhat find something that's going wrong, but right now we are going to celebrate, and we have to because they're playing so good right now. If you want to watch the show, we are on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan. You can also go to Facebook, and you can go to Twitch, 97.3 The Fan. Plus, you can go to my X page, at Matt Skraby, MattsKraby, as in boy, Y. So let me get to the chat real quick. Everybody is very excited in there. We have Maria, we have Jax, we have Jocelyn, we have Diesel, we have Dan, we have Rod, we have Matt, we have Johnny, and we got a lot of people in the chat right now. I don't want to repeat anybody's names. And Diesel says, hey, did I win a ticket to Scrabinator night? No, Diesel, you won a ticket last time, so you were disqualified. But I will talk more about the Scrabinator night here in the next segment. I did send out the winner emails today, so if you haven't checked your email or if you haven't seen it yet, I sent as the chat is calling, the golden ticket email out. And so you have been notified. I didn't get any bounce backs or anything like that. So I think everybody received their emails. And we will adjust as we go along. But so many signups. Like this whole contest thing actually makes me a little nervous. It fills me with anxiety because I want to choose everyone. And I'm not just saying that. I don't want to leave anyone out, but it's the nature of the contest business, and I did use a random number generator. So I'll just say, I had over 700 people sign up for this thing. And so I chose numbers from 1 to 700, and people who signed up last time also got a special drawing as well. So those people have been selected, but I did a random number generator, and I did not fake it, so don't blame me if your name did not come up, but I appreciate everybody signing up. And guess what? This has been such a success this year. There's going to be more Scrabinator things going forward, okay? So I say that like you're in the room with me, but I think everybody understands it. I think everybody is going to have a good time. I think we have a good group. I'm going to meet a lot of you for the first time, so I appreciate that, and I am looking forward to that as well. All right, let's see here. Let's start with the Padres, obviously. I mean, how could we not start with the Padres? They are cruising along right now, and I tend to go with the roller coaster, the ebb and flow of the season. And so I go down because, there were points this year where it was down, and then when they start winning, I get really excited. It's amazing what one win can do for my morale. When they lose 5 in a row, my morale is in the garbage, in the trash. But they win 3 in a row, my morale is through the roof. And so that's just the type of baseball fan that I am. But I really, really, really do need to remember that the baseball season is so long. And I have a hard time remembering that the baseball season is so long. I mean, it does really feel like this is two different teams, two different seasons. Because the team that we saw before the All-Star break is not the team that we are seeing now after the All-Star break. Again, they've won 19 of the last 22. And it's a good thing that they are winning 19 of their last 22 because of the division, because of how good the Diamondbacks have been, because the Dodgers are on a 5-game win streak, possibly 6 if they beat the Brewers tonight. By the way, it's 3-2 in the bottom of the second of that game. Dodgers are leading. So we are scoreboard watching now. It's one of my favorite parts of the sports year. We have the NFL coming up. We have college football coming up. We have the baseball playoff races coming up. And I heard it a million times on the broadcast today. Maybe not a million times, but I heard it a lot on the broadcast today. And it's something that needs to be said a lot. And that's the Padres are going to finish the season against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So we are shaping up for an incredibly dramatic end to the season. And right now, I think Padres fans are feeling good going up against any team at the moment. The Diamondbacks are really hot, but we know how they match up against the Padres. And these playoffs should be very interesting with the matchups that it could produce. I wouldn't mind the Padres getting the bye. I know that people don't want the Padres to get the bye because of what's happened in the past. Teams lose after they get the bye. I don't really think that there's anything to that. I think that maybe I don't really think there's anything to that because it hasn't gone on long enough is what I'm trying to say. That's the best way to say it. They've only had this for the past 3 seasons. So if we have a sample size of say 50 seasons of this in the first round bye teams losing, then maybe it will be a thing. But right now I can't say that it's a thing that you lose if you take the first round bye. Padres want that. All teams want that. They just played 162 games. Why wouldn't you want a first round bye? I think last year the Braves were just tired. They were playing hard all season long. Ronald Acuna had a career year, a record-setting year, and all of those other guys, they were just tired. I don't believe the Padres are tired. I believe the Padres are right where they want to be. Joe Musgrove coming back, doing his thing. You got Martin Perez doing his thing today. Like Chris said, it's just incredible how many buttons that AJ is pressing right now that are working. And it feels good. I feel good for AJ. I really do. I know he doesn't need me to feel good for him, but how can you not? He's tried so many different combinations of this team, and if there's one thing that I like about people, it's when, well, there's a couple things I like about people. It's when they stand up for what they believe in, like Mike Schilt did, and when AJ Preller learns from past mistakes. And that's what he's done. Last year, the bench was not good. The bench was very, very young or very, very old. You can go either way. You had Matt Carpenter, you had Nelson Cruz, and we thought maybe those guys could get going some point through the year. It did not work. The bench was just not good last year, and the Padres found themselves in situations where they would have to rely on the bench, and the bench was just not ready to come through. But that is not the case this year. And we'll talk about the best AJ Preller move so far this year, but I kind of think it has to, Donovan Solano has to be up there. He's had so many clutch hits for the team. He's batting over 300. I know that he's not an everyday player, but there is something to be said about having a guy like Donovan Solano come off the bench and be able to provide that clutch hit when they need it. And he's done it multiple times this year. It's not like he just has done it once. Donovan Solano, I like seeing him at the plate. I like seeing David Peralta at the plate. He homered today on his birthday, hitting home runs at the age of 37. I mean, that is something that a lot of people strive for and they never get to. But the bench this year is a huge improvement. And just like we were talking about before Gwen and Chris ended, AJ Preller seems to have learn from past mistakes, and I'll just say mistakes, but I don't know the exact mistakes, but it seems like he's learned. And when Bob Melvin was maybe telling us last year that there was a little bit of too many hands in the cookie jar, too many cooks in the kitchen, as we say, we question that. And this year hasn't been that way at all. And I also think Mike Schilt is a guy who works well with AJ. And I'm not saying that Bob Melvin didn't. I don't know. But obviously we could put 2 and 2 together that there was some frayed nerves between the two. But this year it's been incredible. It seems like the relationship between the coaching staff and the players and the front office, all the vibes are really good right now. All of the vibes are incredibly good right now in the clubhouse. And Jurickson Profar smiling his way through with all the vibes. I mean, I don't know if anyone else was thinking about this, but last night I was thinking it's incredible that Jackson Merrill continues to put himself in the middle of game-changing plays, like the catch the other night, the home runs. And so I was thinking, how long can he actually keep up these game-changing plays? Can we actually expect for these to happen? Not once a game, not every other game, but can we expect for these game-changing plays to happen at least once a week? I mean, I think we can. And I was thinking, when I was thinking about Jackson Merrill, and I was thinking about whether or not he can continue this, my initial thought was no, he can't continue the game-changing plays because those are all very random. You have to have the ball hit at you. You have to be, you have to come up in the order when you do in the 8th and 9th inning. And Jackson Merrill, like those are all very random occurrences that need to happen for him to do what he's been doing. So I thought, no way can he continue to make these game-changing plays. But guess what? He continues to make game-changing plays. Today, a triple, driving in a couple runs. I mean, he's been incredible. And he has, I believe, 17 home runs this year. Jackson Merrill, we were talking about in the beginning of the year, and I'm not saying anybody was wrong for thinking this, but we were talking in the beginning of the year, hopefully he could put on some muscle so that he's not just a singles hitter. At the beginning of the year, he may have looked like a singles hitter, but as the year's gone along, he has shown that he's got power, and he's able to hit doubles, he's able to leg out triples, obviously the home runs, and I don't think that anyone... Because we still have, I'm not exactly sure how many games they've played this year or how many are left, but we still have like a month and a half of baseball left. And Jackson Merrill's at 17 home runs. If you were to tell me that he would have over 20 home runs in his rookie season, I would have not believed you. I would have said, no way. There's no way he has 20 home runs in his rookie season. But, man, with a good chunk of games left, he's going to have a great opportunity to get to 20 home runs. And I don't know that you can ask for anything more. He is giving the team as much as he can give, and the team is just rallying around it. And I know that he's not the only guy on the team. I've seen those responses, and I agree with those responses. There's lots of guys on a baseball team. There's lots of guys that make wins happen. But Jackson Merrill, with what he's been doing and how he has charged up this clubhouse, I can't. He's not invaluable. I always struggle with the word for this, but you just can't replace him. And his attitude is great. I mean, you also got Tyler Wade. He's the exact type of guy you need on a successful baseball team. Him, Donovan Solano. I forgot to mention him when I was talking about Donovan Solano, but Tyler Wade wasn't necessarily an addition by AJ Preller late in the game. But Tyler Wade, he doesn't complain about playing time. Can play every position, and when he is given that opportunity to play, he takes advantage of it, and he's been doing that a lot lately. And I joked on X over the weekend that he basically gave his life to get that run for the Padres to put him up in extra innings, in extra innings. These guys are what is needed for a deep run in the playoffs. And Tyler Wade, if you're a baseball player out there, I say look at those guys. Tyler Wade, Donovan Solano, David Peralta. Just know that you can make an impact on the team, even if you're not an everyday player. And Tyler Wade is making a great career for himself as being a guy who can come off the bench and play every position. What is it, the saying? Your best ability is availability. Well, Tyler Wade's availability is off the charts. He could play all outfield. He could play pretty much all infield. I don't know that he can pitch or catch, but I mean, you could stick him out there wherever, and he'll play hard, and he'll probably do well at it. And Tyler Wade is one of those guys that you absolutely need to have on a team that will take a deep playoff run. And deep playoff run, I mean, Padres a couple years ago in the NLCS, a lot of those guys were still on the team. A lot of those guys got that playoff experience. I 100% believe that playoff experience is huge, because you just don't know what to expect if you've never done it before. And now that these guys have gone through that sort of playoff run where they had to beat the Mets in New York, they had to take down the Dodgers, and then they had to play the Phillies. You know, it didn't go their way against the Phillies, but they had some huge wins. They had some gritty wins, and those are huge. I think those are immeasurable aspects to a playoff run, is experience, bench play, all of the above. All of the above. Man, I'm just going crazy right now. And it's all because the Padres are being awesome. So we're going to get more into maybe the best AJ Preller move. We're also going to we're going to talk about maybe a little Yu Darvish. I'm not quite sure about Yu Darvish, but I have a couple things to say about that, and it's all good stuff. And then I think at 6:30 we're going to go into Gripe Corner, because I have a lot of people in my DMs all season long and complaining about things, replying to tweets of mine or Instagrams complaining about things, and I want to ask those people where they're at right now with some things. So we'll do all of this, and we do have a daily gripe for the end. So, of course, we have a daily gripe for the end. All of that is next. You're listening to The Skraby Show. I'm Matt Skraby. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. I'm going to text Adam on the air, and then we'll go, and then I'll just keep talking because, yeah. Here's the text. Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials didn't work. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Skraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So, goodbye, Wide Orbit. We're going to continue talking. Let's talk about, let's see here. Let's go into the Yu Darvish stuff. Now the thing isn't even working. It's not even closing. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm here literally by myself right now. So I got no one to come in here and help me. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? This is really fun for everybody, I hope. I'm going to do some Control-Alt-Delete. Let's do, oh, that's the wrong computer. I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. And I'm looking for... I have no idea. I don't know why someone's calling me right now. I can't answer, Nick DiNucci. I know you're trying to help, but I can't answer. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Thank you to everyone who is sticking with me through this, because this is highly embarrassing that I cannot figure out how to go to commercial break. All right, I'm just going to have to restart the computer, and you're all stuck with me until the computer comes back up. But I actually have to restart the computer. Okay. This is great radio, Dan says. I don't know if it's great radio. I'm not sure if it's great radio or not. Emma Key says she's fascinated. Well, thank you for that. Let's see. I heard unplugging works, Johnny says. Matt said Control-Alt-Delete the entire station. I do not want to do that. Let's see. Melvin says it was over, but now we're so back. All right, let's see. Oh, Adam. Oh. Adam just texted me. It's okay, Adam, if you're listening right now, because nothing was working on the thing. Nothing was working. All right, Yu Darvish. I know I'm getting crazy right now. Yu Darvish. Now, I completely understand Yu Darvish has something bigger than baseball going on, and I respect him for stepping away when he did so that he can, take care of whatever he needs to take care of. But I have to think, with him throwing, is there any possibility in your mind that Yu Darvish could come back for a playoff run? Now, am I expecting it? No, I'm not expecting it at all. But I will say that Yu Darvish, I mean, he's staying in shape for a reason. And I appreciate that Mike Schill also didn't really, in what he said the other day, he said, sorry, I'm dealing with like a million different things right now, but I'm trying to talk at the same time. He said, I haven't asked Yu Darvish about baseball at all. I just asked him how he's doing and all of that stuff. And I really respect that. I do, because it's not easy to be a manager with one of your best players who is obviously dealing with something very serious. It's not easy to not, have those questions of like, oh, someone's got the control of the computer now. if everybody wants to know, it says something about BIOS setup. I don't know. Things have gone cattywampus, but it's not easy for Mike Schultz just to be like, "Hey, where you at? Where are you at with your throwing? Do you think you're going to come back this year?" And if he truly hasn't asked him one thing this year, and I believe that he hasn't, then that just shows you what kind of guy Mike Schill is, but it also shows you the respect that people have for Yu Darvish. Now, can he maybe join the team late? That's a possibility. I don't know that it's going to happen at this point just because of how late in the year it is. And again, I've said this before. If Yu Darvish, if this wasn't serious, very, very, very serious, then Yu Darvish would not put himself on the restricted list and not take himself off the payroll, which is what he did. And if he does come back, I think his teammates would welcome him with open arms. That's not even a question in my mind. They would love to have him back. If he doesn't come back, I think everybody's going to respect him. I mean, how could you not respect him? Yu Darvish seems like the guy is extremely respectable in just on a day-to-day basis. Everybody that I've met and talked to that have actually met him, because I know he frequents coffee shops up in North County, and they see him. He takes pictures. He's a very nice guy. And, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry to Jonathan. I forgot to come get him after the... Oh, jeez. There's a lot going on right now, everybody. I'm just checking my phone right now. Let me see. Do the hotkeys work on the other screen? No, there's literally nothing to. This is what I'm seeing, everybody. Oh, well, not everybody. All right, I got to go and figure this out. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look for something real quick so that we can play it. And then I can give Adam a call. And then I can figure out what's going on. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to the Brian Hoeing interview we did for last Friday for now, and then I'm going to figure out what's going on, and then I'm going to come back. But here is Brian Hoeing. Chris and I met with him last week, or at least talked with him on the phone last week, and he was very good. He's very interesting, so here you go.
And it is our Friday interview, and this week we visit with new Padres right-hander Brian Hoeing. Joins us here from Miami, where he was traded from to the Padres, along with Tanner Scott, about 10 days ago. So my first question, Brian, is how has the last 10 days been for you? What kind of whirlwind has it been for you?
It's definitely been a whirlwind, but it's been a good whirlwind. For me, I didn't really expect to get traded. I'm thankful that I did come into an organization like the Padres, first-class organization that prides itself on winning and has a really good culture. So just kind of seeing a different, side of, a team. The guys have been great, welcoming me with open arms. Everybody's been friendly and super helpful. It's kind of ironic that, 10 days later, me and Tanner and even Louis Arise are back in Miami where we all met each other. So it definitely came full circle this weekend.
Yes, it did. We're talking to Brian Hoeing, a Padres relief pitcher here on 97.3 The Fan. And here in San Diego, Brian, we sometimes call your pitching coach, Ruben Niebla, the pitching whisperer. So I just want to know, what was it like to work with him for the first time, or what's it like to work with him currently?
Yeah, he's been great so far. Super helpful already. I know I've only been here 10 days, but we've talked a little bit about, some of my pitch usages and, things that they, hope that they could see change in my arsenal, which I think has been, beneficial for me out there, my performance-wise. But he also just brings really good energy. He's able to listen. It's not just a one-way street. He wants to hear what we have to say, too, about his thoughts. And I think that's how you grow as a pitcher and as a pitching coach as well. But definitely helping me with my arsenal and usage percentage with certain pitches.
Brian Hoeing kind of arrived on the scene as far as the Padres are concerned in that rainout game the other night in Pittsburgh, and ended up pitching almost 4 innings there and helping the Padres to a great win with a beautiful effort, the whole bullpen. I mean, 8 shutout innings. Yeah. But how did that come about? I mean, it started to rain. I'm sure Cease didn't immediately ask out of that game. In fact, if I know Dylan, he probably really didn't ever want out of that game. So how did that finally go? That when you got the word and they said, "Hey, we're going to put you go as far as you can go."
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. Cease's mindset was, I'm going back out there. They were legit going to have to drag this ball out of my hand. That's basically what happened. It was a 2.5. I think it might have been a 2.5 hour delay or somewhere. And that's just not worth throwing. Dylan Cease, one of the best starters in the league, back out there for risk of injury. And I kind of been in that situation before. I've been a hybrid pitcher my whole career, so in a situation like that, my mind, started clicking a little bit. I said, hey, I'm telling myself, this is probably going to be me, so just stay locked in. At no point did I think the game was ever going to get canceled. I was telling myself, we're going to play this game, so I could just stay mentally focused. And the Ruben and Fritz both did a really good job of just communicating with me and saying, hey, look, if this goes past a certain time, we're going to go with you. So the whole rain delay, I was focused and ready to go. But that game was crazy, just with the rain delay and then the bullpen really stepping up in a huge way. I think we had a shutout that game as well.
Yeah.
But the cool part about the bullpen is that everybody is really good stuff. Really good competitors, and I think we really just passed the baton from one person to another, and just kind of I got your back, you got my back, and let's do this thing.
We're talking to Brian Hoeing here, Padres relief pitcher on 97.3 The Fan. And how comfortable, Brian, I think you went 3 2/3 that night. How comfortable are you going deep into games? Is there a pitch limit, or are you just kind of going until you feel like it's time to, He's
a hybrid, Skraby.
I know.
He can go on gasoline or electricity.
Oh, there we go. I like
Doesn't
that,
matter
Chris.
to him.
Thank you.
You kind of have to be a little bit careful. For my health, you have to be careful. You can't just throw me out there for 5-6 innings if I'm not built up, which currently I'm not really built up for that much. But I was built up for 50 pitches or so. I threw 3 innings in Milwaukee about 2 weeks ago. That was around 50 pitches. So, in a situation like that with a rain delay where we really just need to kind of fill up some innings there, I am a guy that can just I like to think, knock on wood, but I like to work efficiently, just get early contact ground balls and just get in and out of at bats. But my knock on wood too, my health is very important. I've been able to stay healthy most of my career. So, I'm able to go multiple and 1 inning at a time, just kind of whatever the team needs.
Brian is a Louisville Cardinal, for those who are wondering. And just a little background for those who don't know. You were drafted, I think, out of high school in something like the 35th or 6th round, then drafted again after your junior season, but still in the 32nd round. And then after your senior year, you got all the way up to the 7th round and signed with the Marlins. Here's my question. What was the biggest thing that happened between the 32nd round and the 7th round? Did you change, or did their opinion of you change?
Yeah, it's funny. My senior year, I had 2 major surgeries. It's funny, I was just talking about how I've stayed healthy in my career, but I actually did have 2 major surgeries my senior year. I had an ACL and UCL surgery, so that kind of hurt my draft stock my senior year, and it was more so, I think, of a courtesy take out of high school. I think it was by the D-backs. They were just kind of like, hey, we like you. We know you probably won't sign, but just in case we can work something out, here's an opportunity. And at that point, coming off 2 major surgeries, I think betterment for my career, I should go to Louisville here and get healthy and pitch against some good competition in college. And then, I got drafted by the Giants, I believe, in 2018, and that came down to just the money amount. We didn't really agree on what the money was going to be, so I went back for my last year at Louisville and had a pretty good year. Honestly, it timed out really well. I kind of, bet on myself a little bit. Had a solid year. We went to the World Series as well, which was really cool. Going from the 30-something round.
All right, everybody. That was Brian Hoeing from last week. Thank you for making an appearance again on the show, Brian. I think we have everything figured out. We're going to have to see you all together when I click this button, but I think we got everything ready to go. We are going to hopefully take a break, and when we get back, we'll figure out what's going on. So stick with me, and appreciate everybody who is commiserating with my computer difficulties. We'll be back shortly, 97.3 The Fan.
Join Gwen and
right, things seem to be back to normal here in the Odyssey Palace Studios on 97.3 The Fan. Got a lot of text messages in the break, got a lot of chats on the YouTube chat, and apparently everybody appreciated and enjoyed Microsoft 101 of trying to restart the computer. So I hope so, because I was kind of freaking out in my head, not going to lie. You know how nice Sammy Lev is? Sammy Lev texted me during that whole debacle and said, hey, I can call in if you need help. And that was very nice of him. He just did his show. He's probably, sitting back, drinking cerveza maybe. I don't know. I've actually never seen Sam Levitt drink a beer before, so I know that he may drink. But anyway, I don't know why I'm going down that weird path. But thank you, Sam, for offering to help me out there. I don't know that it would have helped, though, because I still couldn't go to break. But we got it figured out, so appreciate everyone for sticking with me here. Now, this kind of has put a little wrench into the show, but let's quickly talk about the AJ Preller moves that he has made this season and who is the best move. So you got Donovan Solano. He's hitting .308 this year. He's got 5 home runs, 27 RBI, 787 OPS. We've already kind of talked about him. Dylan Cease, 11-9. He's got a no-hitter. He's got a 3.41 ERA. And he's got 181 strikeouts. His whip is impressive. It's 1.01, meaning it's one of the lowest in the league as a starter, because he's only allowing 1 base runner an inning, which is pretty insane. Arise, he obviously has come over here and done great things. Now with the Padres, he's hit pretty well, but as of late, he has not. I wouldn't say he's not kept up his end of the bargain, but he has struggled a little bit, and that's for one reason. He's got a torn ligament in his thumb, and if we're going to be talking about the Tyler Wades of the world, we also need to talk about the Luis Arises of the world, because playing with a torn ligament in your thumb is not easy. And I was listening to Sam on Saturday do the pregame show, and he was talking about it, and he was saying that they could do surgery in the offseason, or they could rest it, or they could do surgery now, but Luis Ariz has kind of decided that he wanted to play through it, and it seems to be working out for him. I mean, I'm going to trust him. He knows what's best, but that's another guy who's putting it on the line for the Padres. He's another guy. He's another guy that this team needs in the clubhouse. I've seen a couple comments, and I've been told a few times, like, well, why has he been on so many teams then? And I don't know, but I can tell you it's not because he's a bad clubhouse guy. I think we all know that at this point. I think that he fits a certain team profile, and the Padres are that team that could benefit from a guy like Luis Ariz. Other teams can't, maybe put a contact hitter in the lineup at the leadoff spot. Like they need someone who could maybe hit for power. But Luis Ariz fits really well on this team, and I am hoping that he is back next year. Martin Perez, obviously, we've seen what he can do over the last 3 starts. He's been incredible for the Padres, and I'm obviously hoping that continues. You never know what's going to happen, but so far he has been everything that the Padres wanted and more. And speaking of that, Jason Adam has just been incredible for the Padres as well. He has not given up a run yet as a Padre. Tanner Scott, he has given up a run, but he's been pretty good for the Padres as well, outside of, a couple outings where he was trying to find his feel, but he seems to be back into it. His last outing yesterday, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. The outing before that, 1 inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. The outing before that, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. No runs given up in any of those games. So Tanner Scott seems to have returned to the form that the Padres traded for. And then you got Brian Hoeing. He's got 5 appearances on the year. He's only given up 2 hits as a Padre, no earned runs, 2 walks. And coming into today, he had a batting average against in the month of August of .080. So no one is getting hits off of him. No one is getting hits off of Brian Hoeing. But if you look at all of these guys, and I forgot to put Peralta on there. I have to add Peralta as well because he's been a huge addition, and obviously we know what he's been doing here in the last couple of weeks. I really want to argue for the fact that Donovan Solano might be the best move that AJ Preller has made this year, and the reason for that is because having a guy like him come off the bench is not something that other teams have. It's not something that a lot of teams in baseball have. Donovan Solano is someone that is capable of providing that walk-off hit or providing that big hit, and he can also play defense. We saw it the other night. He did his best Manny Machado impersonation while Manny was getting the night off. He made some great plays at third. I know that Dylan Cease is a good one, obviously. I mean, he's been great this year. But I really want to say that Donovan Solano is the move of the season for AJ Preller. He needed to make sure that they had options on the bench, and he made sure they have options on the bench. And I guess what I'm saying about Donovan Solano, he's not an everyday guy anymore. He was for a little bit, filling in for people, but he's making the most of his opportunities, and he's been so impactful. Now I'm not going to say hard and fast he's the best move. I think they were all great moves, but having a bench piece like Donovan Solano is a really, really nice thing for Mike Schilt to be able to put in the game. Have Donovan Solano come up with guys on second and third. Just need a knock. Donovan Solano will get it for you. He's a professional hitter. As Tony and Jesse say all the time, Donovan Solano is a professional hitter. He is going to give you good at-bats every time. And I think we all see the same as what Jesse and Tony see. All right, I got to fit in some more commercials before we get to the end of the show. So what I'm going to do now is go to break, and then when we get back, we'll have more Skraby Show, or should I say the Skraby Chronicles. Everybody thinks, I'm starting to believe that maybe I need to change the name of the show to the Skraby Chronicles, but that's for another day. Be back shortly.
Partly cloudy tonight.
right, back here on the Skraby Show, or the Chronicles, whatever you want to call it, on 97.3 The Fan. I have to say, I feel incredibly bad about something, and it was that we gave away the Def Leppard tickets about an hour and a half ago. An hour and a half. And this is completely unacceptable on my part. But our winner, Jonathan, actually was not able, or he held on the entire time, which is incredible. And I apologize to him profusely because I don't want to be that guy. But obviously I had a bunch of stuff going on. Thank you for sticking around and getting your tickets. I know you're getting something for free, but you also waited around for 90 minutes. So please, everybody, take what happened today with him and say, woo-saw, everybody. Woo-saw. That's what I did when the computer broke. I woo-sawed, and he was very nice about it, and I really appreciate that. I'm very sorry once again. Hopefully I do not do that again. I just don't like it. All right, I'm going to move on from that, and we're going to go into the last couple things we have in the show, and I'm actually going to go just a little bit late because I lost so much time, because I do actually want to say something at the end of the show about what I'm doing this weekend, and it's going to get a little serious for a second, but I think we have to get a little serious at times. We do. All right, we're going to go into Gripe Corner real quick, and this is not the Daily Gripe. This is just the Gripe Corner. I want to gripe about all the fans who have been telling me all season long about how this guy is garbage. DFA this guy. DFA that guy. Oh, this guy. Why is he in the lineup? Why is Jake Cronenworth hitting third in the lineup? So these are the players that have been given up on, at least in my DMs, before the season has even ended. Xander Bogaerts. There was a lot of DFA Bogaerts out there. Where are you at now? Because you don't want to DFA him. And I know that the argument is going to be this. The argument will be, well, he's at least playing for his money now. That's not a good enough argument for me. And like I said at the beginning of the show, it's very hard for me to wait through a long baseball season. But I felt like Xander was going to come back around. He's a guy who has done the exact same thing basically over the last 10 years. He's not going to just stop doing that. I don't know what was wrong in the beginning of the year, but I don't really care because now he's doing well. Jake Cronenworth, he's in the middle of he's scuffling, as they say, right now. He hit a home run today, so that was huge for him in the number 3 spot. He also has 70 RBIs and 15 home runs on the season. That's not a bad season. 70 RBIs is pretty good at this point in the year. So I can't necessarily get mad at Jake Cronenworth for having a slump because of what he did earlier in the year. Let's see. Who else? We got, Mike Schilt's a given. AJ Preller's a given. And I'm not saying this to, rub it in or anything, but sometimes I have to hold back from actually giving my real thoughts of, you really want to DFA Xander Bogaerts, so you have to pay him the rest of the contract and he just gets to do nothing. Or he gets to go play for another team while making money from the Padres and the other team. I mean, I get being frustrated, but I don't get the rash decisions that some people on social media make. It's just a lot. Now, Ha-Seong Kim, I will say, this season has merit for being critical of Ha-Seong Kim. It's been a long season for him. He's not been as good defensively. He's definitely not been as good as offensively. And I hope that the Padres are able. I hope that the Padres are able to bring him back for one more year to see if this year was just a fluke or if it was, we already saw the ceiling of Ha-Seong Kim. I don't think we've seen the ceiling defensively of Ha-Seong Kim. He's been very good. He's had some bad plays this year, but I would like to see him come back for one more year. But if you're going to tell me to DFA Ha-Seong Kim, fine. I can understand why you want to DFA Ha-Seong. He has a full season of work to judge off of. And slumps happen in baseball. Slumps happen in baseball all the time. And I'm just not willing to give up on him yet. Who else do I want? Oh, I got to bring up Joe Musgrove. Even though Joe Musgrove's been injured for most of the year, he did have a really good start the other night. But the whole thing with him and people being mad that he has commercials of him playing golf at Saquon. Who cares? I don't understand the anger. I really don't. Those commercials were filmed in the off season. It's not like he is sitting on the golf course and every time the commercial airs, they go action, and he's playing golf on the golf course for a live commercial. I don't understand the anger of that either. Joe Musgrove is a very, very good dude, and he's very good to San Diego. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why people are so mad at those Saquon commercials. Who else do we got that we can criticize? I am really happy to say that I haven't really seen any hate at all for Yu Darvish. So it tells me one thing: we all have a conscience out there. We all have a heart out there. And I haven't really seen the hate for Yu Darvish, and I'm glad I haven't seen the hate for Yu Darvish. But that makes me feel good about things. So those are just a few players that were given up on early in the season. Brian says, problem with the Joe commercials is they are played over and over and over again. Yeah, they are played over and over and over again. But that's just how commercials work, I guess. I don't know. I see them a lot, but I'm also a guy who, if I see that commercial and I'm over it, not saying I'm over the Joe Saquon commercial, but I have seen it a lot, I just go do something else for 30 seconds. I don't know. All right. We're going to skip the Daily Gripe because I just griped, but this weekend I'm going to be out Thursday, Friday. I'll be back on Monday. But the reason I'm going to be out is my grandpa passed away in May. And so I'm going up for a funeral, and his funeral. And we waited a little bit just to make sure everybody who wanted to be there could be there. And there's people traveling from all over for this funeral. And number one, I have to say, Alzheimer's, I always struggle with that word, is a very, very serious and dangerous thing. And I know that they're making some strides in the right direction, but still it's largely misunderstood. It's largely not known how to treat it. And it's it scares me, to be honest with you, because it's something that my family goes through a lot. Like my great grandpa was, he had Alzheimer's. And so my grandpa did, and it's been passed down. I know that people in my family have the gene for this, and it scares me because some days you just don't even know who anybody is in the room. And it's a very sad thing to see. So with that said, my grandpa passing away was obviously very sad for our family, but we were also maybe not happy, but relieved as well that he's not going through the suffering that he went through. And the reason I'm bringing this all up is because I think people out there have similar situations to this. But for my grandpa, he was very important to me growing up. He was someone I looked up to. He owned a home building business back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. And so I had always thought I was going to go take over Grandpa's business. It didn't work out that way just because I went in a different direction for a little bit, and I'll get to that in a second. But my grandpa has always been a great role model for all of his grandchildren. I'm the oldest of, I think there's like 27 grandchildren now. I know it's a lot of grandchildren, but they also had 6 kids, my grandma and my grandpa. But he was there for each and every one of us. And he was one of the first people in my life to actually plant the seed that I had a drinking problem. Nothing he could really do about it, but he did let me know that I was going down a bad path. And I can specifically remember a phone conversation with my grandpa about 10 years ago or so. 10 years ago. And this was at the end of my drinking career. And he called me because we had just gone on a trip to Alaska as a family. He took all the guys up to Alaska, and we went fishing, all this stuff. It was really fun, but I was a drunken mess up there. And I had told my grandpa I was going to stop drinking, or at least cut down on the drinking. And he was, he didn't say anything to me on the trip, but he also didn't really talk to me on the trip, which told me a lot looking back on it. So we get back from the trip, he calls me, and I remember specifically him saying, "You're going to lose everything in your life if you don't get this under control." And being the stubborn guy that I was, I didn't really believe him until much, much, much later. And I should have listened, but everybody has to go through things on their own. But why I'm talking about this is because there is it's so important to have support from friends and family. And I feel like I need to honor my grandpa by saying this to everyone, because he was there for all of his kids, all of his grandkids. He was, to a fault, too nice of a guy. And he was someone who we could look up to be that rock in a storm. You know, there's nothing better sometimes when things are going bad, and that person that gives you strength is there. And my grandpa was that for a lot of us. But he's the reason I'm a golf fanatic. You can thank him. You can also thank him for being the reason I'm a 49er fan. And the reason I am a 49er fan is because he has season tickets since the 80s, and so I went to a lot of games growing up. I was the number one grandchild, so I was old enough to go to all the games when his kids couldn't go to the games. He's the reason I am in radio. And this is the final story I'm going to tell about my grandpa. But I was tired of life, and I was tired of the job that I was working. And I had only been working as an intern in radio for 6 months. And I'd been working for this other company for about 4.5 years, and I was tired of it. I did not like my boss. Still to this day, do not like that guy. I hope that he gets that word somehow, because he was one of the most, I would say he's one of the biggest bullies that I've ever met in my entire life. I'll tell you a story. One time I qualified for a bonus. He changed the parameters and said that he never agreed to it. That's the type of guy he was, so he didn't give me the bonus. Anyway, moving on, because I'm going to get really mad about that. I drove out to Palm Springs. That's where they lived, and I sat down with them, and I was trying to stop drinking at the time. And so I talked to my grandma and my grandpa, and I said, hey, I have this really, really good opportunity with this radio station, and this is kind of something I think could be, you know, I could actually realize my dream job. And I needed financial help because I was not, obviously, making any money as an unpaid intern. And we talked at that lunch for an hour and a half, and we kept going back and forth, and there was no decision made then. But I just kind of left saying, if there's anything you can help me with, Grandpa, that would be amazing. And my grandma, you know, as well. And so they called me back a few days later, and they told me that they were going to help me. And they also told me that if they were going to help me, then I was going to have to start dealing with my drinking. And I did, to a point, but I didn't take it as seriously as I should. And the one thing, in closing, I mean, and so my grandpa, he helped me out. And then once I got on my feet, I'm forever grateful for him. He is the reason, along with my parents, that I am sitting here right now, because they supported me when I was at my lowest. I was homeless for a hot second because my brother kicked me out of the house. Sorry, Eric, I told that story, but you did. And I deserved it. So no fault there. But my grandpa is someone that I think people can kind of learn from. Someone who is very caring, someone who was going to call you out when you needed to be called out, but he's also going to be there for you when you're at your lowest. And I'm very happy that I had my grandpa in my life, and I'm very happy that I had my grandma in my life. And I would not be sitting here today, because I probably would not have stopped drinking when I did if it wasn't for my grandpa. And it wasn't for him planting that seed in my head. And so I have to thank him and thank my family for sticking with me. And yeah, so I know I was all over the place maybe, but I just wanted to say some nice things about my grandpa, because he was an incredibly important part of my life. I was very lucky to be able to play lots of rounds of golf with him. I was very lucky when I was a kid. He had his pilot's license. That's why I'm an aviation nerd, is because of my grandpa. Most of the things that I am, outside of the crazy things, most of the things that I am are because my grandpa was someone who raised me in a way to, you know, believe in what I believe in, and also just be a good person. And yeah, now I'm just rambling and I'm way over, but appreciate everybody listening. Thanks to everybody who was nice during the computer malfunction. Hopefully that does not happen here, because I do not have anything else to say. So I will be off the next couple days, be back on Monday. We'll talk some Padres on Monday, but Tony and Chris will be with you tomorrow for the roundtable. They'll also be with you for Gwen and Chris. So appreciate everyone, and have a good night, everyone. Make sure you tell people that you love them. And I know I'm getting a little sappy, but it's true. You just never know when you'll never know when you can't say it to that person. And that's what I'll leave it with. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Go Padres. Let's get the excitement back up. We don't need to be sad anymore. The Padres have won 19 of their last 22, and they have swept 2 teams this year, and they're heading to Colorado to keep their winning ways. So we will be excited about that, and I will talk to you all on Monday.